faith-based Christian oriented movies that I watch almost never reflect life the way that I live it.
Yeah.
The way that I think most people live it. And I don't know if this resonates with you. I suspect that it does, but there's a gloss over it. And it comes off stilted and preachy consistently. And that's a disappointment to me as a Christian, because my belief is that movies that depict real life that most of us actually live and can connect with are going to be far more impactful for an audience that may not be Christian.
Well, I don't disagree with anything you said. I think one of the things I try to figure out is why, I think a lot of Christian films are just bad films.
Yeah.
They have a good message, but the message is not why people go see movies. That's one of the problems with filmmaking that is, and so Christian filmmaking is not the only version of this, but it's the one we're talking about. But if you start with message, you failed from the beginning. Now, I understand why people do, because that's why they want to make a film. They want to spread the gospel or spread the message of whatever, living a good life, whatever it might be. But if you start with message, you're almost always making a bad movie, because you're not starting from a point of character, which is where movies, that's what people relate to, the characters.
Sure.
I was thinking a random thing that, thinking about like Spider-Man. So, Spider-Man could be a good or bad movie. Everybody knows a Spider-Man. It's probably going to make a lot of money, but it can be there's good versions and bad versions out there, because it starts with character. It's not just, everybody wants to see Spider-Man. So it's the same with Christian filmmaking, as far as I'm concerned. Without starting from a place of character and story, and instead starting from a place of message, it kind of gets the whole thing backwards. And also because I think a lot of people who set out to make films who are Christians and want to make those kinds of movies, I think it's a particular thing in Christian culture to believe that, I can do this better because God's on my side, but fail to actually study how to do that, or align themselves with people who know what they're doing.
That's an excellent point.
So, and so the movies just end up not being very good movies. And when you've chosen to, and look, I have no problem with this principle that I'm about to talk about. If you've chosen to say, I don't want to watch movies that, that fill me with, sinful thoughts, or watch people do sinful things, that's fine. But, you're also choosing not to partake of the greatest works in the art form that will inform you how to do this well.
Yeah.
So it's like saying, I want to learn to play guitar, but, Eric Clapton or the Beatles are terrible, and I'm never going to, whereas they're, they're the best. So, this is who you learn from.
No, I get it. Yeah.
Just not to say you have to watch everything, but you have to watch movies that inform your ability to make better movies. So, so I think that's where it comes from. Even though there's a heart to do something positive, it's done without enough learning and without, enough understanding of the form. That's why I think that happens. I think, kind of like you, I don't actually think of my movies as faith-based. So some people do, but there's not a lot of talk about God in most of my movies. They're about people, and and because I'm working on small budgets, they're about comparatively small issues. My last movie was called 7 Short Films About Our Marriage, and it's a film about an interracial couple, and as they kind of struggle through the various stages of marriage, from dealing with a father-in-law who is somewhat racist in the opening as they're getting married, to dealing with money woes later in their marriage, to dealing with infertility, so just like the story is just about, this is what people's lives are like. And that's kind of what interests me, is how do people survive the small things, not cataclysmic events that you might depict in other movies, but which is also a topic worth, I like, you can see my office, I like superhero movies.
Yeah.
So that's good too. But, I think for me, as a filmmaker who is a Christian, I want to think about people and their lives and the problems that they go through.
Chris, I want you to talk about the film digital media department in terms of what do you want people to know? What do you want us to know in terms of what the department exists for, what it's all about, what the purpose is, and what you would say to prospective students in terms of here's why we suggest that you at least look seriously and consider our department if this is the career you want to go into. First of all, one of the big selling points for our program, and I know this is not what people think about when they're like, where should I go to college? But it's like I'm surrounded by people in this department who are just some of the best people that I know in terms of their commitment to others and their thoughtfulness. And, I'm blessed to work with people that I love and respect, but also that spills out into how they work with students. There's a real care and concern that my colleagues have that their students learn, but also that they grow as people, and that that extends to praying for them and counseling them and helping them live better lives. So in addition to making them good at what they do, which I think we're quite good at, we also are, I think, hoping to make them better people, and that's important in college. In terms of the business and just the skills, we are a kind of I often refer to us as a professional production program more than a film school, because if there are students in our program who want to make films or television, and then there are students who want to do something with production ability, but they're not even sure what it is yet, and some of them want to go into sports and those kinds of things. Yeah. So we try to serve all of that, because most of those skills cross over between all of the different things that you can do in production. Yeah. So there are certain faculty who are very committed to filmmaking and that particular side of it, but there are others who are and if you're taking, for example, if you're taking an audio production class, it's not just film audio recording and editing that you're doing. You're also doing podcast type recording and those kinds of things, because those are skills that we think are valuable. So we're both trying to turn our students into great storytellers, but also make them, excuse me, very employable in whatever production field they want to be a part of. Yeah. So so I think of it as having a great degree of flexibility. About half the major is required courses, and then the other half is elective, and you can pick and choose based on what you want to be, and hopefully those required courses helped you figure that out. I can't let you go without asking you this. It's impossible to answer, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Favorite film of all time? Yeah, it is a hard question. I used to tell people I kind of have a rotating top 10 because it's hard to pick. So I think lately, I think the best film for me in terms of the subject matter, the execution, and just general entertainment is The Godfather. Yeah. I can watch The Godfather from any point in that movie. If it comes on TV, I'll endure the commercials. It's just worth watching whenever I see it. Chris, thanks a lot. And wind up, of course. What else with this? SIC EM BEARS. Thanks, man. It's been awesome. Great talking to you.